Hello everybody and welcome back to my ARK Hardcore playthrough, where we're playing through the island on Hardcore. My name is Critic and today we've got quite the hunt going on. So right now what we need is an Ankylosaurus so we can start gathering metal. We need a Doedicurus so we can start gathering stone. We need a Megatherium so we can start gathering chitin. And we need a probably a mammoth, so we can start gathering wood. Because we're basically at a point now where we need to start gathering materials like, cementing paste, which is what the Megatherium and the Doedicurus would be gathering. We need polymer, which requires the cementing paste, plus obsidian, which is what the Ankylosaurus is for. So right now, I'm basically just, flying around and looking for creatures to possibly tame. So, this is kind of like the worst part of this game, is just trying to find the right creatures. One issue with the island, and it is specific to the island, is that high-level creatures aren't as prevalent in general. For whatever reason, that's just the way that the developers made it. So here I am, flying around and just scoping the place out. It's just kind of a wait-and-see game. And with waiting and seeing, now down here where I'm at specifically, you can occasionally find Rexes and what have you, and I do also need Rexes so I can start building my boss fighting team. I'm also going to need the Therizinosaurs so I could fight the dragon. And so one thing that a lot of people don't realize, the information is out there, but a lot of people don't know to look for it, is that with the dragon fight, the fire attacks deal double damage to carnivores. So you want to have an herbivore, so it takes half of the damage from the fire. So if you've ever wondered why people use Therizinosaurs for the dragon fight, that's why. It's because they take half the damage from the fire attacks, which would be both the breath and the fireball. So, plus, they're just as strong as the Rexes when it comes down to raw power. So yeah, so those are the creatures that we're basically going to be on the look for. And here we are. I decided to we've got this Giga up here over at Giga Mountain, up in the right-hand corner. And I saw a couple of Ankys, and I spy scoped them, and I noticed that this one is a level 120, which is the maximum level on this playthrough on this server. So I went ahead and scooped it up. I don't have a proper trap for it though. I still have the Argentavis trap, but I'm not exactly excited to use it. Normally what I'll do is I'll do a drop down trap, so I can actually just take this, hover above the trap with the Argentavis, and then drop the Anky in, and then I don't have to worry about anything else. So that's the trap that I normally build for this type of tame. Same thing goes with the Doedicurus. It's a very similar type of tame. You can just pick it up with the RG, carry it around, and then drop it into a trap. And I guess I also forgot to mention that I need to get a Baryonyx for some of the caves, and that's going to be another thing that we do is we're going to get some caving animals going too. Now, I will be using the Megatherium for a lot of the caves because of the amount of chitin that you get, but there are some caves where you just got to have an animal that's a little bit smaller and can actually jump. So that's where the Baryonyx is going to come into play. So I'm getting this Anky down to the RG trap, so I can hopefully get it trapped. Ankys and Doedicurus, they take a lot of torpor. So you got to hit them with a lot of arrows, or a lot of, in this case, we're going to be using trank darts. We need to make sure that we trap it, so that way when it gets 25% torpored, it doesn't just run away from us. And that is what every animal does. They have a flight mode when they are knockout tames, and once they reach 75% torpor, or 75% of the way to being knocked out, they will just they'll just run away from you. So you want to make sure you trap them to just give yourself the best chance possible of being able to actually get your knockout going. So I go ahead and shoot this guy, this lady, and I try to get her into the trap. And like I said, this is not the proper trap, so I'm just going to let this all play out. I'm not going to cut down to her just being knocked out. Getting her into this trap was quite an annoying thing to do. She did not want to cooperate at all. To the extent that she actually, at one point, you'll see that she starts attacking the trap, because she just doesn't, like, she can't get to me, but she also, doesn't want to walk in, so. And you also saw there that she lost interest in me. It's kind of a Doedicurus and Ankys, they have kind of a shorter attention span when it comes to stuff like this. They're also really dangerous. I mean, you'll notice that I'm trying to not let it get too close to me. That tail will not only does it deal massive damage to the player, it also has a nasty knockback. And it wouldn't quite throw me into the river behind, but it would throw me quite a ways toward it. So here I went ahead and switched doors, hoping to get it to come in. It didn't, and so I went ahead and just opened both doors, hoping to get it to come in. It still didn't, and this is the point at which I told you it just starts attacking the trap out of frustration. And luckily, Ankys can't destroy stone structures. But, creatures like a Megatherium, if it has the bug buff, will destroy stone structures. What's it called? A Therizinosaur will destroy stone structures. But things like a Mammoth, the Doedicurus, even though it farms stone, doesn't destroy stone structures. The Anky farms, metal, obsidian, crystal, stuff like that. It doesn't destroy stone structures, so the logic isn't 100% there on that, but it is what it is. I mean, it's a fun game. I love this game, and I'm just going to play it my way. Now you can see here that I'm running around, and every time I run around, the Anky is faced away from me. And what I'm doing is I'm testing to see if it's in flight mode yet. And in general, when they're in flight mode, they will just run away from where you are. So if you have a creature that you're, trying to tame, and they're running away from you, and they're running directly into the path of like a Rex or something nasty, there is a chance that you can get it to turn if you go to its side, and then it will just start fleeing in a different direction. So here we are. We've knocked out this Anky. So the next step is to get it tamed up. One of the best strat for something like this is to starve tame it. And because we're on single player mode, normally I would use Dododex. It's a website. I'm pretty sure it's dododex.com, or if you just Google Dododex, it'll come up, and you can just punch in, the creature that you have. You have to know the actual name of the creature in the game, but you plug in the creature that you have, you plug in its level, and which game mode you're on, and it'll tell you how many tranquilizers it'll take to knock it out, how many tranquilizers it'll take to keep it knocked out, for the duration of the tame, and if you're starve taming it, it'll tell you how long to let it starve before you tame it. So I did not use that. I was kind of hoping that it would just be good, but it definitely wasn't. So you can see that I'm using vegetables instead of berries, and the reason for that is the vegetables are about, I don't know if it's 3 or 4 times more effective on the taming effectiveness. But yeah, so that's one of the things that a lot of people don't know, is that when you are taming, you definitely, if you have the chance to use vegetables, if you don't have kibble yet, definitely use vegetables. It is far more effective. Now, if you don't have vegetables and you need to tame something like this, and you need to use berries, make sure you're using the Mijo berries, the purple berries. Those have the highest taming effectiveness of all of the berries. The other 3 colors, well, there's 5 colors, but you don't use narco berries and you don't use stem berries on creatures like this. You know, narco berries are, you use those to make the narcotics, and those cause your creatures to stay asleep longer, and so that doesn't harm the creature at all. But if you use stem berries on your creature, it'll actually cause it to wake up faster, and you definitely don't want that either. Unless, of course, you make a mistake and you mess up the taming effectiveness. So the taming effectiveness is important because, so this creature is currently level 120, and my effectiveness is 97%. It's going to get plus 58 levels. So that means that its level is going to be 178 when it wakes up. So it's going to go level 120 to 178. And that means that it's going to have 58 levels worth of points to assign to itself just upon waking up. So, you know, it's most of this one's levels went into food. It made me so distraught. So it went from 9,000 food to 14,000 food. So it gained 5,000 food is what it did. But it did also gain, it doubled in its weight capacity, it doubled in its melee damage, and those are the 2 important stats, are weight capacity and melee damage. And with an Anky, the reason for that is the more melee that you do, the more you collect. And the same thing with the Doedicurus. Any gathering animal, the more damage you do, the more you collect per bite, swing, what have you. So, you want to make sure that you get your melee high, and with certain creatures, you want to make sure that you get your weight high. Now, with this Anky, we're going to be flying around with it with an Argentavis, so I will pump a couple levels into weight, but I'm not going to just go into weight. I'm going to go into melee so I can get more metal, more crystal, and more obsidian per swing. And so that's basically how I'm going to level this character, level this Anky. I am going to try to get a second Anky, and I am going to try to breed them, and hopefully get a much stronger Anky out of it. But that's not going to be a primary focus. As long as I've got an Anky to get, you know, some metal going, that's all I need. So you can see here that, you know, its stamina is 7,700. Again, we're not going to really use that. Its melee damage is 340%. Its weight capacity is 370. So we're basically going to, so the weight doesn't matter because we're going to be flying around with an Anky. As long as it can swing its tail and hit something, it will gather. That's all that matters. So we need to get the saddle, and then we need to get this thing out and start actually gathering metal. So Ankys, certain creatures have the ability to reduce weight of what they gather. So with Ankys, they reduce the weight of metal by 85%. So metal is a, you know, whether you want to use pounds or kilos or whatever your unit is, that doesn't matter. It's just a factor of 1. So 1 metal, it weighs 1. So with 1 metal weighing 1, and it is reduced by 85%, then that one metal now weighs 0.15. And so you can literally just fly around with an Anky on an Argentavis, and this is why getting the weight up on the Argentavis is really important. Like, you want to have high weight on your RG so you can fly around with your Anky or your Dodic, and you can actually have them gather, and you just pick them up and you're just moving them from node to node to node to node. It's much faster than actually letting them walk around and all that. So, and again, you'll see that here. That's all going to happen in this episode. So now that I've got the saddle on it, I'm going to go hit these stones out here, and you'll see that I get mostly flint and flint, metal, and stone, and I'm getting a lot more metal out of these than I normally would with my pick. And again, that's because of, you know, it's what this creature is designed for. It's designed for metal. But it's also getting tons of flint, and basically the difference here is that the Anky is the pick of the natural world, and the Dodic is the hatchet of the natural world when it comes down to stone and stuff. So up here where these rich metal nodes are, if you were to hit these with a Doedicurus, it would give you stone. It wouldn't really give you much metal at all, if any. It would just give you stone. And you can see here that I dropped this and he just started swinging. This is another feature that both the Doedicurus and the Ankylosaurus have, where as long as they have 2/3 of their weight available, they will just swing their tail. So you don't have to drop them off. You can see here that I'm holding him with my RG, and she is just swinging her tail. And she does it once, and then she stops, and that's because she is now 2/3 full on her weight. So now I have to manually, you know, drop her down, mount her, and then actually get her, or, you know, use her with the mouse. So here we go. I kind of overshot when I dismounted the bird, but that's okay. So you can see in that upper right hand corner where that weight is. Now you can see her weight. Like I said, it's at 416 now. It was at 370. I did put a couple points into weight, but that's not going to be the main focus on this Anky. So you can see that she's moving slow. That's because of how much weight she has. So I'm going to dump the stone, and you can see the weight reduced. The weight reduced in the in her inventory. But over here, there's some crystal, and I desperately need crystal so I can make a proper greenhouse, and we can actually get vegetables to grow at a very decent rate. So that's what a lot of this crystal is going to go to. We also need it to build things like fabricators, the industrial forge, and a few other things. So we do need a bunch of crystal. We will be coming up here a lot, but this is going to be, like I said in the past couple episodes, it's about 10 hours of recording to get an episode, to get like a 25 to 35 minute episode. I did get lucky this time, you know, having to tame up an Anky and actually getting to show you guys how to farm with the Anky and what the, you know, what basically the best strat is when you don't have anything better. And this is it. You're literally just carrying the, like I said, you're carrying the Anky from spot to spot. You want to make sure that you stop before you drop it, so that way it actually stops. Because if you intend to precision drop it and you are still moving, it will move the target of where you're dropping the creature that you're holding. It's really annoying. It honestly is. So I mentioned earlier that I want to get a mammoth for gathering wood, and the reason for that is the mammoth also reduces the weight of wood, and it gathers tons of it. There is also another creature that's really good at gathering wood, and it also reduces the weight of wood, and that is the game is called the Casteroides, or the beaver. The Castroides also reduces weight of wood by 75%, I believe. That might have been up to 85%, but I think that was the mammoth they did that too. The problem is the Castroides doesn't have, it just doesn't have the weight capacity. But you can carry a Castroides in the claws of, or in the talons of an Argentavis, and you can just fly up to trees, and the Castroides will just eat the tree as you're flying through. So much like how the Anky and the Dodic can farm stone and metal while you're holding it, the Castroides can farm wood while you're holding it. Much like the Anky and the Dodic, though, the Castroides is held to that 2/3 weight rule. Once it's 2/3 full, it stops gathering, period. So most people don't bother using the Castroides, but if you don't have a better option, like especially on the island, things like the Anky and the Mammoth, they're kind of locked to the harder parts of the island. And so, and beavers tend to live more in the rivers closer to the beaches. Not 100% the case, but still a good portion of the cases. So it might be easier to get an Anky, to get a Castroides early on. But if you're going to go with a Castroides, if I'm being completely honest, you might as well just go for a Stego. Stegos are much better. They carry much more weight, and you have multiple modes that you can set with a Stego. So you can have, one mode gathers thatch. Yeah, one mode gathers thatch from trees. One mode gathers wood from trees, and then one mode is just for berry picking. So there's a lot going on with that. A lot going on with the creatures of the ARK. Like, there's a lot to learn, and that's a big part of what I want to kind of hit here. So I'm going to show you this here. So now I'm only getting, I'm getting like 25 to 35 wood per tree right now. And I need this wood so I can make some furnaces to put on top of the base, so I can start smelting all of this metal that I just got with this Anky. So I went ahead and farmed all that up, but I noticed that I wasn't getting hardly any wood at all from the trees that are inland. But the trees that were on the beach, the palm trees and all that, I was getting over 100 wood per. And for some reason it just didn't sit right. I didn't know if that was like actually the case or if I was misremembering. So I went ahead and just got these things built. Built 5 of them. I'm going to get them loaded up, get them ready to go, and then then I'm going to head back to the beach, and I'm going to test this theory out, because if it's faster for me to just, until I can get a mammoth, of course, if it's faster for me to just come back here, then I'll do it. Now, you'll notice that at a certain point, I forgot to mention this, the game got really framey, and that's not the game, it's the recording. For whatever reason, my OBS was like, oh, yeah, we're just not going to record some frames. I hope that's okay. And I was like, what do you mean you're not going to record some frames? Because it doesn't actually tell you, like, there's no, yeah, you can see that I accidentally, so I've been playing a lot of Rust, and to access your inventory in Rust, you hit tab, but hitting tab in this game, it opens up the console, so you can actually like type in commands and what have you. I swear to you guys, I have not been using commands. This is all just, I've just been playing too much Rust. It's actually a big reason why it took about 2 weeks for this video to come out, is because I've just been playing so much Rust, and I am planning on starting to make some Rust content also. What I'd like to do is get 3 different series going on this channel at all times, so that way there's 3 different videos for you guys to watch every week. I'm just trying to get my groove down right now, and I'm just trying to, learn it. I want to get better at editing. So there is more stuff on the horizon. I hope you guys are enjoying this stuff, and I hope that you continue to hang out. With that being stated, though, so yeah, I mean, look, I just got 125 wood from that one tree. So I'm going to fill up my RG. I'm going to get it back over to the base. This isn't a, it's 26-minute episode, so it's not super long. It's not super short. I'm going to try to keep them about this length because it just feels right. But it also depends on the content. So, yeah, with that, I mean, I appreciate you guys hanging out. I'm really grateful for you guys, all of you. And I really hope that, that eventually I get more comfortable with recording and with editing, and yeah. So that's it. That's it for my rambling. You guys take care. Thank you again.